Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Studio Hours episode for December. This episode, we're going to be talking about preparing for the new year. Right around this time is when everybody kind of has that holiday fever and the new year is approaching. So we all kind of have those thoughts in our head as to what's going to be happening next year, what we want to work towards, what our goals are, resolutions we want to set, all that kind of stuff. So we're already in that mindset of preparing for a little bit of a new beginning, a fresh start, letting January kind of be the reset button for some things in our life. So today I want to talk about this topic because I feel like this is something that a lot of people, I don't necessarily want to use the word stress out over, but something that they, put a lot of emphasis on and a lot of effort into kind of really being positive and interesting in the things that they pick out that they want to pay attention to in the new year. I know for me, this is a time that I have to be really careful simply because in years past, I know I have been a little ambitious with my New Year's resolutions or goals or ideas for projects that I want to accomplish and goals that I want to set and, all of this. All of these things that I want to work towards that are still things that I want to incorporate in my daily life, but maybe not with the added pressure of them being a New Year's goal or resolution. I know that when I sat down to actually go through this process, that I have to be really careful to not put too much on my plate, and I purposely hold back actually a lot of the time simply because it there's always room for more. But when we operate from a place of simplicity, we tend to get a lot more done, feel a lot better about the projects that we take on and complete and all of that stuff. And I think those things are really important for us to keep in mind during this time of year. No matter what, it does seem to be a very hectic time. We have a lot going on, a lot of people we want to see, a lot of tasks we have to complete outside of the day-to-day and the regular hustle and bustle of daily life. We've added a lot of pressure and tasks to this time of year to begin with. So I would just encourage you all to, when you sit down to make your yearly goals and you start to think about what you want next year in the future, where you want to put your effort, just to make sure that you try and keep it simple, maybe limit it to a specific number of goals, maybe limit it to a specific time frame, set one goal for January and then start over in February. I always think that that's kind of a cool way to do things, especially because then each month it's like a fresh start. You don't have to wait for a whole new year. Each month you can set a new goal, and that kind of drives you forward, gives the month a freshness each time, and you can still work on all of those goals that you want to complete, but it doesn't feel so overwhelming because they're not all set for, January 1st and forward. They kind of roll out slowly, and you can take your time, a month each time, to complete each of those goals. One of the things that I want to talk about is I would like to talk about assessing a goal and if it is important enough, or there's a lot of criteria, obviously, that will go into setting a goal, but looking at each goal maybe a little more critically than we do normally. I know, for example, one of my goals this year was to start learning Italian. And obviously this is not business related, but I really wanted to learn another language and I chose Italian. And one of the things I told myself was that I wasn't going to expect to be able to fluently speak Italian at the end of the year. I knew the amount of time that I was going to be able to devote to this project and goal, and I simply knew that I was not going to get very far in a year. But I can now say a few words, and I recognize some words, and I'm learning grammar and all of that kind of stuff. So by taking the pressure off and not making it a big important goal because of its priority in my life, and the reason I wanted to learn Italian in the first place, all of those factors that went into deciding how much time I was going to spend on this project, and how much pressure I was going to put on myself to actually complete it. So one of the other things we want to do is, again, assess these goals. So take a look at something that you feel compelled to do and decide how much time and effort do you really want to put into this project. If it's really calling your soul and you feel like it's this big thing that you really want to put a lot of effort into, then make sure that you plan your other goals out accordingly. We can't have a million, there's only so much time. We can't have a million goals. So we really want to prioritize, look at what goals are important to us for our family, for our professional life, for our workplace, all of those types of things, for our relationships. Any of those goals will have a priority structure. So when you look at your list, something is always going to be more important than something else. So I would encourage you to take a look at your goals and assess them based on a few things. How much time and effort you actually want to put into. If it's something that you can only do for an hour or two at night while you're sitting in front of the TV or whatever it is, make sure that your mindset going into that goal is appropriate. So pay attention to the time frame in which you have to actually complete the goal. That's a big one. Pay attention to the overall number of goals. So we don't want to just overwhelm ourselves. Maybe we can have a main goal and a bunch of goals that are sitting in reserve. Kind of when we reach that main goal, we can pick another one out of the pot and work on that one next. And in that way, you can kind of one by one work through, and you'll actually find that you accomplish more this way than you might have thought, simply focusing on one goal at a time and knocking them down. It kind of creates a little bit of a domino effect. As soon as you start completing goals, it just gets easier and easier to complete the ones that come after. And you'll find that all of those goals then become stepping stones to maybe larger goals that you have in your life, such as creating a successful business or spending more time with your family or whatever those overarching, big life goals are. So those are a few things that you can use to assess your New Year's resolutions and your goals. And I hope this helps you kind of prepare both your mindset and your plan for 2017. I know that this is going to be a really awesome year for all of us. When I look back at all that we've accomplished and all that I've created in 2016, I know that it feels really exciting to be stepping into something new and to be working on some new goals that I have had on my list for quite a while. And I'm really excited to get to work on those. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you in the new year.